Alright, welcome back, guys. I want to share with you quickly a book I came across at an antique store. It's called Safe Counsel, and here's the title page. Safe Counsel or Practical Eugenics. This was published in 1930, and it's the 40th edition. So that kind of tells us this was probably a textbook, and 40 editions is a lot. That means it was popular, widely circulated, and highly esteemed. The author is J.L. Nichols, A.M. Pretty sure that means accepted Mason. If I'm wrong, please let me know. And on the title page is a graphic, and it shows two different pathways. One path leads to the clouds, happiness, and old age. The other one leads to the dark depths of misery. And it shows you all the different steps. It's a lot like the structure of Freemasonry graphic, where, you know, there's two ways up, right? Kind of reminds me of that. And it says, which will you choose, right? So let's read a little bit. And to preface this, I want you to think of what's going on today. Because we know what's going on today is not about keeping us healthy. It's not about the common cold. It's not about any of that. It's about DNA. It's about RNA and the future in which it will be merged with technology. Technocracy, basically. And keep that in mind when we read this. So here are the different sections of Part 1. Historical facts, methods of improving the race. Remind you of anything? The eugenic marriage license, sterilization of the unfit, birth control, and different forms of prophylaxis. So I want to start here with the eugenic marriage license and think about what's going on today with the new forms of ID that they're trying to push forward. Some states are, like New York, are demanding a you-know-what passport. In Europe, they've implemented the passports all over. A lot of people protesting there. And eventually, if you ask me, they're going to put all forms of ID into a digital, biodigital format. So basically, information encoded in you via a device, some, new technology. Now, let me read this real quick. This is pretty crazy. One of the simplest and most effective methods of improving the human race is a law which would require a certificate of freedom from transmissible disease before a marriage license could be issued. Does that not sound exactly with the C19er? What's going on today? A law which would require a certificate of freedom from transmissible disease. Sounds a lot like a CDC you-know-what card or a New York State V-word passport, doesn't it? Crazy. What's even crazier is eugenics, which was popular all over the world, not just Germany. It's very popular in America. It was supported by people like Margaret Sanger and also Billy Goat Gates' father. Billy Goat Gates' father was on the board of Planned Parenthood during this time, 40s, I think. This was 1930. And isn't it funny how the language back then is exactly like the language today? And we can probably trace the leaders of the eugenics movement. We can trace their descendants down to the Billy Goat Gates of today, right? Unbelievable. Look at this. Sterilization of the unfit. The second means for the improvement of the human race, as advocated by students of the subject, is the sterilization of the feeble-minded, degenerate, and criminal. Like I was saying, everything today is about DNA, about RNA, about so-called improving the human race, about controlling disease, controlling degeneracy, and controlling people's minds. So this first paragraph right here, sterilization of the unfit, who do you think that applies to today, right? If they can turn genes on and off with a VAX, yeah, they're going to come after people that they say are feeble-minded, degenerate, and criminal, like anti-VAXers or anti-maskers and the like. Christians. We cannot ignore heredity. Goes on to say that it's not just, nurture, it's also nature. You know, that nature versus nurture. Do we get all of our traits from genes or do we get them from environment? This is arguing we get a lot from our genes, just like they're arguing today. Okay, it also says sterilization without mutilation. It may not be generally known that there are two distinct methods of rendering men and women incapable of begetting children. Formerly a very serious and maiming operation with a profound effect upon the character, looks, and voice of the individual was considered necessary. Today it is possible to obtain the desired result without any mutilation, and with absolutely no effect upon the individual's health. Yep, sounds like what they're talking about today. We can cure you of this boogeyman disease without any side effects, completely effective, right? And you know, they're just going to keep ushering in new procedures, new VAXs, new genetic manipulation for whatever they want to come up with. That's what they're doing today. And then it says, sterilization of defectives legal. Listen to this, guys. 1930. The Virginia state law providing for the sterilization of mental defectives has recently been upheld by the United States Supreme Court. They don't teach you that in school, do they? No. So the people today who say this could never happen, it would never get through the courts, it's already happened. There was already nationwide eugenics. There was already sterilization of the unfit. Like, it's happening. It's going to happen. It's been happening. The people today are the grandchildren of the people who were sterilizing the unfit in the 1930s, okay? And like they always say, it's better for all the world. Look at that. Just like today. We're all in it together, right? Crazy. So it goes on to talk about prophylaxis. Listen to the definition of moral prophylaxis. We mean simply the prevention of trouble before we come to it. The prevention of trouble before we come to it. Today they say the prevention of sickness before it occurs. The prevention of transmissible diseases before there are symptoms, whatever they want to say. It's the exact same thing. Ugh. And then it has a picture here, because this book, as a form of prophylaxis, encourages you to tell on people who are sexually deviant. And it says, I've had my eye on Jones. And it shows two guys in an office looking over at Jones, about to snitch on him for God knows what. Just like they're doing today, right? They want you to report your neighbors, report your family members if they are talking about misinformation, if they're conspiracy theorists, if they are not supporting mandates, right? This is what they encourage. And this is what is happening because of social media. So I was going to read this to you. It's the 1930s version of What Women Love in Men and What Men Love in Women. But we'll have to do that another time, so I got to get going. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys have a great day.